There was a time 200 years ago where if you wanted to buy a chair for your house, you'd have to go to a local carpenter and they would make you a chair, in 2 months' time. And you'd get the chair and it would be lovely, but it would be costing like 3 months worth of salary because everything was bespoke. In the same way as 20 years ago, if you wanted a website, you'd go to a local web designer and 3 months later they would build you from scratch using HTML and CSS and MySQL and PHP and whatever, a website that met your needs. um Jump forward from the 1800s to the 1960s, you got Comran and you've got IKEA. Now you don't need to go and have a chair designed and built for you. You have a small number of designers that will design chairs for tens of thousands of people. And so now the number of furniture designers in any town is minuscule. I think the same is true of design. Like I think design has gone from an artisanal kind of on-demand service to being a manufacturing line
Yeah.
whereby you create a design system, and there will always be a need for designers, or not always, but there will continue for a while to be a need for a few designers to manage a company's design system if you're thinking a large company. Now, if you've got the design system set, at the moment, what do you need designers for? You don't need the designers to do the design system. Designers aren't now really building big interaction flows because it might be a team of 10 or 20, 10 or 20 product team. And so you're designing a small little thing. And mostly what you're doing is you're iterating on what's already in existence. And so the reason that we still need designers to this day is because the tool that we deliver our design systems in to our engineers is Figma. And Figma still requires a bit of technical knowledge. And most engineers don't know how to use Figma and don't want to know. Most product managers don't know how to use Figma and don't want to know. So we basically, most design these days is as Figma operators, which is depressing. A product manager writes a PRD, they hand it to like a drafts person who then mocks that up in Figma and then hands it to the engineers and they ship it. So there's very little design involved in the designer's
Yeah.
life. Now, as soon as you have a tool that doesn't have the same learning requirements that Figma does, that can pull in an existing design system and an existing code base, arguably, and allow a non-technical, non-design product manager to move things around on a screen in a way that doesn't break the layout, that doesn't break the rules, that doesn't require fine-grained typography
Yeah.
control,
Yeah. Yeah.
then I would say that a very, very large number of designers will suddenly find themselves out of work.
Yeah.
And we're already seeing this. I think we reached peak designer in 2020. I think 2020, 2021, there was a massive hiring boom and it was really hard to find designers. I think now a lot of people I talk to, sadly, like are struggling. A lot of people who would have got a job immediately, they would have been fired on a Friday and had a job on a Monday, are now taking 6 months or a year to find their next job. I'm meeting a lot of designers who are maybe a little bit older who are pivoting careers. Maybe they're going into product management. Maybe they're starting their own startup, or maybe they're opening a bike shop or a coffee shop or a vegan, cake shop or whatever. Like, I think we've reached peak designer. Now, I'm not saying designers will never be used,
Mm.
but I'm saying that the volume that was needed, in the same way as the volume that was needed for chair makers, will no longer be the same.